There's news today that GM is reportedly canceling Ultra Cruise, its next-gen semi-autonomous driver assistance system that was supposed to drive on 95% of roads, and now they're refocusing on its less capable Super Cruise highway-only driving system. What does this mean? Why are they doing this? And might this open up a partnership with Tesla's full self-driving? I've got Hans Nelson joining us. Check out his YouTube channel at Hans C. Nelson. Welcome, Hans.
Thanks for having me, Herbert.
So this is news that came out this morning. I'm not sure if it's solidified. It's still kind of rumors. People in the know, you know how that works. So it says here, GM may be canceling Ultra Cruise. A number of news articles did announce it. So it says here, GM may be canceling Ultra Cruise, the automaker's next-gen semi-autonomous driver assistance system. This was announced in 2021. It's an evolution of their Super Cruise, which is expanded capability. Super Cruise was just highway only, and then Ultra Cruise was supposed to be the 95% of roads. This is their beautiful photo that they shared. It's got the cameras system and be able to, compete with full self-driving. And then it says here, according to a recent report from CNBC, which cites two anonymous sources familiar with the matter, GM is poised to end the Ultra Cruise program. I mean, I know we're laughing that it's two anonymous sources, but the reality is this is very, very likely, right? I mean, it's very likely given that we know the cruise ended itself. What was your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I would point out is that one of the things that they relied on for their plans for the Ultra Cruise system was LiDAR. And, that was one of the sensors that was included in that graphic that you shared. And for those of us who believe that Elon is correct in his idea that LiDAR is a crutch and that people pursuing LiDAR will ultimately not be able to successfully solve autonomous driving technology, this seems to be like another data point that supports that fact.
So here we are. This is when they approached GM, this vice president of global technology communications for GM, Daryl Harrison Jr., he declined to comment on the Ultra Cruise. But what he did say is that GM is going to continue to expand access to and increase the capability of Super Cruise. Again, just by saying that on a kind of like already leads to, yeah, something's happening in Ultra Cruise. Our focus remains on safely deploying this technology across the GM brands and more vehicle categories while expanding to even more roads. So this was Ultra Cruise. They were promising 95% of driving scenarios. By the way, I think I just saw that they were planning to launch it the end of 2023. So clearly that did not happen. More sensors, 2 million roads. That was what they were thinking. For US, Canada, and Ireland, and launching in 2023. And then it was announced in 2021, hands-free driving. Super Cruise is just for highways. They're both considered level 2 automated systems. Yeah. But of course, the reason is because we've seen that they're struggling. They shut down Cruise. There was multiple investigations. There was a pedestrian who was dragged. And it turned out after the investigation that Cruise was being teleoperated, I guess. There was a human there that was watching its driving, and if every once in a while would take over. So it wasn't really truly autonomous. And then you had the departure of the CEO, and all these things started happening. So everything crashed and burned. What do you think, Hans?
Yeah, I think that what this likely indicates is that their Ultra Cruise system, they were planning to build that on top of the infrastructure that they were developing from a software standpoint at Cruise. And
Right.
I think we've seen that the quality of that software has not lived up to their expectations. And it would be, basically a PR disaster and nightmare if they immediately went from backpedaling on their Cruise division and basically winding it down because they have admitted that it's not safe and it isn't capable of being safe in its current iteration. They can't then take that software and package it up for consumer use and not expect an enormous consumer backlash.
Okay, and you wanted me to show this slide. Tell me why you wanted to show people.
So I just think that this is interesting. This is a graph that was put out a number of years ago that people expected that Tesla, this is a consulting firm that operates in the autonomous vehicle space, and they were ranking who the best players are in autonomous vehicle technology. And this chart has been something that was used to say that Tesla was in fact behind in their autonomous vehicle technology. And they put companies like Waymo, Mobileye, Baidu, and Cruise up there as the very leaders. And so for us to see this very public collapse of Cruise, I think this is another point of vindication for Elon, not only in the approach that he has taken, um, because I think that Waymo, while they may have better quality software overall, they do face the exact same structural and architectural challenges that Cruise faced. And I would be surprised if there are not continued safety concerns that just arise out of the fact that these are traditionally hand coded networks, that there are just too many edge cases for them to account for at scale, and that the sensor suite that they use that is based on LiDAR is not something that really brings in valuable information that cameras do not provide, that allows these vehicles to operate safely in any environment.
And that's already been proven, and that's pretty clear at this point. LiDAR is not
Mhm.
necessary. We've seen many companies, at least 20, have gone bankrupt already. And then even founders of previous LiDAR companies are refounding new companies just based on vision only. So Cruise is in trouble. Ultra Cruise is now very likely going to be canceled. Do you think that this sets up an opportunity for GM to partner with Tesla's full self-driving, or what would their options be?
I would be very surprised if we see them partnering with Tesla. Obviously, I believe that that would be the intelligent move moving forward. But I think it's much more likely that we see them partner with a company like NVIDIA, than it is for them to go ahead and, come hat in hand back to Elon and admit that they have made mistakes in their approach again. They'll save a little bit more face if they announce something with NVIDIA. Um, I think the other thing that this whole story really puts another fine bow on is the fact that these legacy auto manufacturers are not capable software companies. And so, whether it's GM and the Cruise division or the Cariad initiative over at Volkswagen, these companies just are not capable of producing high quality software. And as we increasingly move into the age of digitally defined, computer on wheels vehicles, whether those are ICE or EV, that these companies that have been dominant in the past are not in a position to thrive in that environment. And so, that'll be an ongoing dynamic that we see play out over the next 10 years.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point, right? So we've seen many announcements. Okay, Tesla's not going to be the only company. There's going to be lots of competitors. Then you see, like you said, all these software startups that Volkswagen's Cariad, Ford CEO saying that their software is a total drag on them. 200 software vendors that they need to communicate with. You got GM, Cruise dying, Ultra Cruise stopping. There's probably a number of other examples. Now we're starting to see that, like you said, it wasn't that easy. And then for autonomous driving, you need a supercomputer, you need large data
Yep.
centers, and you need large data. And so Tesla's approach, which is very unique, where all of its customers have access to both autopilot and full self-driving. And by the way, even if you did not sign up for full self-driving, the car itself is still grabbing that
Mhm.
data and uploading and sending it to Tesla. And so all of its cars sending data to, we're talking now 5.5 million cars out there, a certain number, but maybe not, but almost all of
Yep.
it. And in a business model where Tesla's customers are paying them for this use already, versus everyone else is still this idea that, I need to fund
Yep.
it, develop it, and then maybe at some point sell it in the future. But um, so
Yeah, that's
another
why the
one.
Silicon Valley model is the one that needs to be used in this situation. There's real not only business model, but also company architecture, first principles. You don't see successful software companies that are built on the waterfall planning architecture. And that's what these legacy OEM systems use. This is a point that Joe Justice has made ad nauseum, but I think is very prescient and that a lot of people underestimate the fact that all highly successful modern technology companies use agile. They don't do waterfall planning. And so you can't take a company that is structured around purely waterfall planning projects and that system to be able to adapt to the software ecosystem, to have the agility that's necessary to even create the software in the first place. much less find the right business models that it takes to deploy them in the real world in a sustainable way and not go bankrupt.
I mean, these are legacy, corporate driven, yeah, they just typically it's very few that can actually survive the new paradigm. Thank you so much, Hans. Appreciate you joining me. This was a fun story, but we'll see more of these showing up. Follow Hans on his YouTube channel, Hans C. Nelson. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.